If there's one thing for sure I know all human beings will come across in life is experiencing stagnancy, a sense of stillness, or a feeling of not being able to move forward in life. So this is where growth comes in. I believe that all persons in society or in the world will understand that growth is something that is necessary both physically and mentally. And when it comes on to physical growth, there are certain key criteria that we have to understand outside of growing our bodies and just growing our abilities and capabilities. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to identify growth within your life. So once again, welcome back to the channel, Concept of the Mind. On this channel, I do a lot of speaking on personal development, self-betterment, and entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in building your own personal brand or something you'd like to share to the world, consider subscribing to the channel. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Concept of the Mind. The link will be in the description below. Now, back to the actual video. So as stated in the starter for this video, I'll be talking about identifying growth. So what is growth? Personal growth is something that everyone goes through at some point in their life, whether it's financially, emotionally, or educationally. But personal growth is something that people should understand to identify themselves and then develop into something that they aspire to be on a different confidence level, or just be a better person on a whole. So at this point in time, you must be wondering, why is growth relevant? Why is personal growth so important? And my personal answer for this question would be that if you don't understand yourself completely, you don't know what you are about, you don't know what you like or those type of things, you will not be able to manifest your real and true potential to be the things that you are most capable of being, to do the things that you are most capable of doing. So this is why personal growth is important. And I know at this point in time, most persons might be thinking, what actually triggers personal growth? What does it feel like to be actually ready for some growth in your life, to be a better person? And the answer for this question is life. At points in your life, you will actually feel like you are stuck, you are just complacent with everything that is happening around you, and you will feel like you want a change. So life is what happens to trigger personal growth. This is what pushes us as human beings to aspire to be something else, to be better than what we are now. Alright, so point one in this would be to identify where you actually started. And when I say to identify where you actually started, I don't mean to go back to the day that you were born. No one can remember that far. But I actually mean to remember for the days that you started to develop a personality, to understand yourself, and then you will now see the things that you want to do. So you will remember where you are coming from and know where you want to go. So a lot of persons in society don't have the best background when it comes down to finances and stability at home. But a lot of persons will see themselves in a better light because we are only humans. We want the best for ourselves. So this is where identifying growth will come from. So you will realize that things weren't the same and now you still want something better. So identify where you are coming from. My second point on this list to identify growth is check the levels in your life. Now that you've identified where you're coming from, think about every 5 years in your life where you were. So high school, college, just leaving college, starting a life, going into a relationship. These are the type of things that you have to stage by stage and level by level to identify how weak you were, how much you have grown over the years, and what you have learned over a 5-year period. So when you're in high school, you learned personality traits about yourself. Know the things that you've liked, know the things that you don't like. When you go to college, you understand more about career paths and where you want to be in life. But now that you're in the real world, outside of college, you now experience that life is quite different from what they actually taught you in school. So these steps will actually make a better ground plan for your future and understanding what are the levels that you hope to reach by 5 years' time. So another point on this list to identify growth is to let your past be your fuel. So being that a lot of persons don't come from the best background, when I speak of finances, when I speak of parental advice, when I speak of emotional advice and stability overall in the home, a lot of persons won't fit into this category. So I know this might sound controversial, but I think this type of background is the best and most solid, concrete background to be successful. Because when you look in society and look for persons who have made it out of the slums, a lot of these self-made billionaires and millionaires around the world were poor and didn't have the best background. But this is the thing that they use to fuel them to go further ahead in life and to make the best decisions possible for their future and for their family. So once again, I will say to you, let your past be your fuel. Let it strengthen you, let it propel you, and let it push you further in life. So there's a common saying for persons in society, which is, not everyone will be successful. Not everyone is designed to be the richest or to be the famous or to be whatever. But if you think about it, don't you think that everyone has the ability to make a specific life for themselves, to be stable, to be happy, to be free mentally and physically? Now this will fall under the point of know what is your desire in life. Know what you aim for in life. Know what is your form of happiness. Know what brings you joy, and know where you see yourself at the end of the line. When you know that, okay, everyone will die someday, and what are the things that I would like to accomplish to satisfy me before I actually go away. These are the things that you must know in life to be truly happy and understand growth. Because at the end of the day, growth is happiness by each stage and satisfaction by each stage. Another point on this list would be that life is limitless. I'm just kidding. Another point on this list is know what is actually in your reality. Know what is possible for you to do. So the reason why I stated that life is limitless, if you look on some person's background and where they actually come from, you would believe that it was almost impossible for them to do what they actually did. The other day I was watching something on the internet where there's a young man in Africa who invented his own car. There's no one else in his community who has a car, but he built an electric car using scrap parts, and now he's the first person to have a car in his community in Africa. So this was an example just to show you that persons in society will have it harder than you and still push forward and make a difference in their life. So what about you? Another point on this list to identify growth is to acknowledge your dreams. When I say acknowledge your dreams, I don't mean to go to sleep and think about the things that you love the most and dream about them. But aspirations, dreams, the real dreams that actually push us as human beings. Because dreams are really what make us human beings. I know that in the 1930s, a lot of persons weren't thinking about having their own cars and whatever and whatnot. But now in the 21st century, we're in 2021, it is almost a norm for everyone to have a car. And before there were smartphones, there were persons pushing the limits to have LCD screens, to have a flat screen TV that was so compact, that used less space, and it was so flat. So these are the limits that human beings push to further themselves in life. Hence the term growth. You have to understand what are your dreams and create growth in your life. Now, this other point on the list might be complicated for a lot of persons, because some people in this time when we are facing a pandemic is going through some financial burdens or some emotional pain or something. But you have to think back into yourself and look back into your life and awaken your essence of life. Be true to who you are. Embrace the struggle, embrace the pain, and then find yourself and find what actually makes you happy. Whenever you do this, this will give your life somewhat meaning more to you, and then you can identify growth for emotional reasons, for financial reasons, and for just life itself. So this is the time where you can actually breathe in happiness, success, and overcome your fears and live a happy life with growth alongside you. Now, this one is something that I've actually done about 3 years ago, where I wrote a letter to myself explaining how I felt back in the years when I felt that it was hard for me to get financially stable, it was hard for me to get emotionally stable because of the things that I was going through. And I've worked and worked and worked so long and so hard to be where I am now, where I can think that I am somewhat financially stable and somewhat emotionally stable. I wrote a letter to myself explaining the things that I used to be fearful of, explaining the place that I would see myself, explaining the things that I like the most. So for a lot of persons, they can't actually express the way that they feel now to themselves, and it touches somewhere inside of them and they feel better. So write a letter to yourself, whether it's for next month, next year, or the next 5 years, explaining exactly what you are going through and how does it make you feel, and to send a future message for yourself. Tell yourself to cheer up, or I'm glad that you're doing well. And this will be something that will teach you that growth is real and is possible. And the final point on this list is something to send you out with a bang. Now, this point is more like an activity for yourself, something to test your strength and your weakness, and to test your endurance overall as the person who you think you are. This is to set outrageously hard goals for yourself. Think about the things that you want to do and push yourself into a small, tight time frame and pressure yourself to get this thing done. This will show you how strong you are, or how weak you are, or how much you have grown overall over the past few years or few months, whichever way you put it. So when you set an outrageously hard goal for yourself, it prepares you for the actual reality of life. Sometimes in life you will come across some things that seem like it was never ever possible to happen, and it brings you pressure, pain, sadness, all of the totally wrong things. And then when you actually overcome from this type of problem, you feel 10 times stronger, and you will know how to deal with a similar problem if it arises. So go about it and just set an outrageously hard goal for yourself. So as usual, I am really grateful for you to watch the entire video, and kudos to you for watching it. I hope you really learned something, and if you haven't subscribed as yet, please go and subscribe for more videos like this. Like the video so the YouTube algorithm can understand completely what is going on here, and tell your friends about it. Tell them to subscribe. Don't you want them to be happy too? This was Concept